Hello and welcome to Simonheals. My name is Simon. So, today I wanted to talk to you about a topic that seems to be going around on social media a bit at the moment, certainly on a few of the kind of YouTube channels that I listen to and follow. And this is the subject of entities, demons, possessions. And as often is the case for me, there'll be a topic that is going around, and it's also very current for me. So it's as if these topics are in the zeitgeist, in the collective consciousness. I just wanted to share with you a little bit about my recent experiences with entities and demons, possessions. Before I do, I've listened to a couple of really good videos over the last few days. One from JCK. So I'm going to leave a link for her channel. Actually, I'll leave a link for that video below this in the description. And another one just this morning from Campbell. His channel is Spiral Up. He also has another channel, Autodidactic. Again, I'll leave a link for that video. This is where I'm at with this subject right now. And I think it's worth just kind of going back a little bit in my personal kind of history timeline, because there's been a couple of times, well, more than a couple, several times actually, where the course of my life, and particularly my kind of purpose in life, has been altered by a mystical experience that I've had. And by a mystical experience, I mean some kind of vision, whether I've been on a specific vision quest or whether that vision has just come to me more spontaneously, or a meditation. These are either something that I've done alone or have been facilitated by some kind of human guide or facilitator, healer, shaman. And one such occasion was last year. It was around November last year, so 2021, in what was meant to be a regression healing therapy session, where actually I was unable to be regressed into past life. And this has happened to me before, to the point that I've come to the conclusion where I don't believe I've actually had any past life incarnations in this, on this planet in human form. But what did happen in the session was that I found myself up in another dimension. It was referred to as the ninth dimension, and I was introduced to a collective of light beings. I think that's the best way to describe them. So lights in a room, in a space. And this room was like being in the inside of an egg. So it wasn't kind of lines and walls and floors and ceilings. It was like this, there was no seams to it, no floor, no ceiling, no walls. It was just like this egg that we were inside. And because we were lights, we weren't standing. So I guess we didn't need a flat floor to stand on. So we were just kind of like, let's say, hovering. And there was a lot of us. I was one of them also. And there was this one light that was the brightest light, the most, definitely the dominant light in this kind of group. And this light started to communicate with me. And I'm going to say he. I mean, there's no real gender to this, but I'm going to say he or it. This light was communicating with me and told me that it is also known as Archangel Raphael, and that he is a direct fractal of source energy. So he explained that he is amongst the first beings that Source created. So Source started to expand and reproduce, a little bit like an egg and sperm starting to reproduce in the womb of a woman, and like constantly dividing. So amongst the first divisions of Source, as it started to expand, are what we call the archangels. So this particular archangel is Raphael. And I don't want to get too much off the subject here, but he shared so fascinating information with me. One thing was that angels, the word angel is actually the word angle. So angels are angles of light. So if you think of light, when light goes through glass or water or a prism, something like that, that the light diffracts into many different into the different vibrations, to the different rays. So each archangel is a ray of source light, source energy. And so it holds a specific frequency. And the frequency of Archangel Raphael is the frequency of healing, unconditional love and healing through unconditional love, let's say also. And then he explained to me that myself and the other light beings in this space, in this kind of pod-like room that we're in, are fractals of him, Archangel Raphael. So we're like the next generation almost of fractals from Source. So as Source duplicates and replicates and replicates and gets bigger and bigger and bigger, then we were kind of like fractals of Archangel Raphael. He also told me my name, my angelic name. So this gets to the part where the human part of me, Simon, feels a little bit shy. But I just need to kind of recognize that that's my little ego mind. But that I am an angel and I have an angelic name. And that I have a mission which I volunteered for on Earth at this time. And so this was back in November last year. And do bear in mind that I've been, up until that point, I've been working for 11 years as a healer and as a spiritual teacher. So in that respect, this was nothing entirely new. But what I was told was that I was going to start to meet people who were also part of this kind of light team that have volunteered for this time to really support humanity through this ascension period that humanity, that we are in now. I say we because I'm still very much a human. And when I say that I'm an angel, I'm not the only one. You know, we're all multidimensional beings, and we exist in different dimensions, in different forms. So I was here specifically for this time, and that over the coming period, I would start to understand increasingly what that specific role is and what I need to do. And so this time of ascension for humanity, and very much a time of almost kind of like a biblical time, isn't it? Of a battle between good and evil that's playing out there. But what I was also shown, that what is playing out there in what we call the kind of world out there is a reflection of what's playing out within each of us. And that the healing of the out there, this kind of battle between good and evil, and all those kind of bad guys that are out there, and the deep state, and the, you know, and all the different names they use for those, and then the individual characters within those. I don't need to go into their names for this. I think we know who they are. Then that they really are kind of like aspects of self projected out into the material kind of experience that we're having. And that this time now is really a very intense healing time for us collectively and individually. And that it's not just an opportunity to heal, that we need to heal. This is like, it's imperative that we heal. It's a real kind of do or die period of time that we're in. I was also shown that we do heal. So, you know, because as we all know, that time doesn't exist in this kind of linear way that we experience it. So the resolution of this struggle, this kind of period that we're going through at the moment, has already happened in non-linear time, as a timeline where we do heal. We heal, you know, at the individual level and at the collective level. Not every single one of us is healing, and we see that already. But many of us do, and certainly enough to create this kind of critical mass and tipping point of change. And that's how we birth into New Earth. So now I want to start to tie this back to the subject of entities, demons, possessions. So what has started to happen increasingly in my healing sessions is that these sessions, many of these sessions are becoming, what's becoming evident in the sessions is that the disease that my clients are experiencing, whether that's physically in the body, whether that's mentally, anxiety, stress, worry, fear, the depression, etc., or emotionally the traumas that people are holding, etc., that the cause of these are what we could call a possession, an entity that is, and sometimes more than one entity, that is using the client, using us as hosts through which they can maintain themselves, because these entities, they're not connected to source, so they don't have that direct energetic connection to source, so they're not fed by source in the way that we are, because we're connected to source. As I said earlier on in this video, we're fractals of source energy. So that's where we get our life force from. But these entities, they do not have that life force from source, so they need to feed off us. This has been done really deliberately, that these entities, in a way, you can think of them as like the foot soldiers of the the deep state, the Illuminati, the dark controllers, whatever kind of words you want to use around that. We can think of these entities kind of like the foot soldiers, and each of us as fractals of source, and as many of us are angels in other dimensions, that we're doing battle with them, and each of us is doing that battle within ourselves. And this is not a new concept. Those old cartoons where you have the devil on one shoulder and the angel on one shoulder, and they're kind of like fighting it out. I think all of us experience that and have experienced that. And this seems to be a time when this is really coming to a head. And as I say, this is really, these individual battles are now manifesting out into the collective. So what I'm finding more and more in my sessions is that the sessions are about removing these entities. This is what is needed for the healing. So how do these entities get in? Well, this has been done very, very deliberately over the last couple of years. I mean, this has been going on probably as long as we have been around, but it's been really, truly weaponized over the last couple of years. And it was a very clever strategy, because these entities get into our, through the defenses of our energy bodies, our auric fields, when our vibration is low, when we're in a state of trauma, of fear, of panic. And this was a situation that was created en masse just over 2 years ago, with the whole kind of pandemic narrative that started. So for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to get into whether there was or wasn't an actual, virus, etc., etc. That's not necessarily relevant or important for this video. But so whether there was or not, we believe there was, and we were catapulted into this state of shock and then fear. And that fear was really kind of propagated through media, particularly. And so these demons, these entities, were able to get in through our auric fields collectively. Add to that the attack on us through things like, the food supply chain, the water that we drink, EMFs, all the Wi-Fi and all that stuff. The chemtrails, pollution, blocking out the sun, etc., etc., keeping us disconnected from the earth. We're wearing rubber shoes, we're living indoors, we've got air conditioning, we're not breathing fresh air, etc., etc. All of these things combined has been weakening our auric fields, our energy bodies, so that these demons can come in and these entities can literally, like vampires, attach themselves to us. So this is what I have been finding more and more as the actual causes of the disease, the physical, mental, emotional disease. I'm talking about real diseases. I'm talking about people coming to me with, kind of medically diagnosed diseases. Something that is major as well at the moment is addictions to substances, whether it's the obvious substances like recreational drugs and alcohol, but also other addictions, emotional addictions, addictions within relationships, addictions to food, etc., etc. Smoking, of course, is always a big one, and so addictions also very much have their cause at this level, at the kind of entity level, because each of these substances particularly has a spirit energy to it, has an entity associated with it. So so in the sessions, I'm removing these, and oftentimes, the person that I'm working on, they may be convulsing, there may be some foul language coming from their mouth. There's like a real resistance to this happening, and so a little bit like the movies. I haven't seen any kind of spinning heads yet or anything, fortunately, but sometimes these entity possessions, as that entity is removed, there's a lot of resistance from the entity, so I wanted to share that with you and offer to you my services in this work. So if you've been listening to me and there's any of the kind of like symptoms that I've talked about, and again, we can be talking about very, very physical symptoms and medical conditions, as well as mental and emotional conditions and addictions, then please reach out to me. And if there's a voice in your head now that's suspicious, that's one of the entities, because that's one of the ways that we experience the entities, is that as a voice in the head. So if you're listening to this and there's a voice that's going, oh, well, this isn't real, or this guy is not for real, something, that's possibly an entity as well. Because also what I'm offering to you isn't going to cost you anything, because this is my mission, this is my purpose, this is what Archangel Raphael told me. So if you'd like to take me up on that, follow up on that, there's a link below for a free consultation. Just click on that link, and then we can get you booked in for a free online chat with me, and we'll see where you're at and see if I can help you. Thanks so much for listening. If what I talk about, what I share resonates, and you'd like to give me some support, then give me a thumbs up, click on the like, subscribe to the channel, share it around, and thank you so much for listening. I look forward to hearing from you and connecting with you again soon. Namaste.